let's put this one aside here, guys. Um, we're moving on now. Let's move into Scream 2. Scream 2 was the inevitable sequel. Everybody knew that since Scream 1 was just kind of a runaway hit with audiences, not only from my generation and just the one right after me, it hit an age group variance. I mean, it got a really great variance where you just knew it was going to be a sequel because not only did the story and the script lend itself to a sequel, but everybody wanted to see the remaining characters come back. They just really wanted to see more of that because it was a decently made movie. I've got to give it to Wes Craven. Now I know he catches a lot of crap for Vampire in Brooklyn and trying to do some other different things like that. A lot of people don't like Shocker. A lot of people don't like People Under Stairs. I'm kind of on the fence about those movies, but he's had some hits too. You got to give credit where credit's due. Wes Craven, he's done. A lot of people are on the fence about Last House on the Left. It's his first film. I mean, it's not a great film by any means, but of course, he came right out with Nightmare on Elm Street in 1984. But then in '85, he came out with The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, which was a total stinker. I don't know hardly any self-respecting horror movie buff that likes that movie. It's just a mess of a movie. But that's not what we're here to talk about, guys. Moving along with the Scream Trilogy, my thoughts on here. We're going to talk about Scream 2, the inevitable sequel that came out the very year after Scream 1, I believe. I don't think they waited 2 years or 3 years to push this one out. Which kind of brings me to my first gripe about Scream 2. I viewed this one the other night and took in a fresh viewing just so I could expound my thoughts about it better. Gotta say, I still enjoy Part 2. Has the opening scene with Jada Pinkett Smith and Omar Epps. Kind of playing the movie within a movie idea. They've made a movie about the murders and everything that happened in the first part in Scream 1. All that. And basically, they've come out with a movie called Stab, which is based on the book that Gail Weathers, Courtney Cox's character, wrote. So, it's kind of a movie within a movie, and it kind of plays on all the typical jargon that you expect out of a sequel. And they laid the ground rules out pretty good. Jamie Kennedy's character is still the guy that's pining for the love of the main character, Neve Campbell, Sidney Prescott, and sadly he gets killed in this one, and I do not like that they took his character out. Now, he is revisited in Part 3, but not in the fashion that you would think. By this time, though, you got to understand, I think around about Scream 2, when it came out, we had I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was also written by Kevin Williamson, and it was directed by someone else. I can't remember the name of the director right now off the top of my head. It's escaping me, but it came out around the same time as this one, and so you had that new wave kind of new era of the slasher flick that kind of had a little hump in the, a little rise in popularity during that time frame. And a lot of people got on board and went to see these movies and made them popular and made them spawn sequels and stuff like that. The sequel here, Scream 2, in my opinion, I don't know, guys. It's an okay sequel. It hits all the right buttons. It's watchable still for me. I could still watch it. It's not as enjoyable as the original Scream movie, in my opinion. Mainly because it just kind of falls short. I mean, they laid the ground rules out, and they still do the same idea. Where Jamie Kennedy lays out the ground rules. He says that sequels have more gore, higher body count, and all this stuff, and all these things do happen in the movie. But by the time you get to the killers in this movie, the killers, I hate to admit it, even with that, not Skeet Ulrich, but the other kid that plays the other killer in the first one that has, I cannot stand that guy. I don't even know his name because I hate that actor so much. I don't know why, but he just gets on my nerves. But by the time you get to the killers in Scream 2, you're kind of like, it's good up to that point almost, because in that second act of Scream 2, it kind of lags. Because you start getting into where Courtney Cox's character and David Arquette are trying to rekindle their relationship, and it really bogs it down for about 10 good minutes. I mean, 10 minutes may not sound like a lot of time, but when you're talking about an hour and a half movie that's supposed to be, breakneck speed the whole time, kill, kill, kill after every 5 to 10 minutes, it kind of lulls a little bit about the end of the second act, probably the early third act of Scream 2. But not a major concern because, like I said, it's pretty good up until you get about to the end of the movie. It's got good characters. Again, one thing I have to give Scream 2 props for, they dropped in a lot of good cameos in this movie. David Warner's in there, just to name one off the top of my head. Other cameos show up in the movie. There's some more name dropping in there. You have to look closely for it. I like the way they set it up. They set it at a college campus, which harkens back to a lot of the slashers of the 80s.